None.
Commissioner Urbana,
None.
Commissioner Awasti,
None.
Chair Chuan,
None.
Vice Chair Sierradella,
None.
Commissioner Galang,
None.
Commissioner Mosin.
None.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You hear us now. So, thank you. Next item, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting agenda for January 25th, 2023?
Move to approve.
All right, motion from Commissioner Commissioner Milson. Do I have a second?
Second.
And second from Commissioner Albano. Roll call vote. Commissioner Milson,
Aye.
Commissioner Awasti,
Aye.
Commissioner Galang,
Aye.
Commissioner Albano,
Aye.
Vice Chair Sierradella,
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Motion passes. Next item, announcements. Any of the planning commissioners wish to make any announcements? Vice Chair.
Yeah, I have one announcement. I'd like to wish Alex happy birthday again. What a wonderful party you had. Thank you.
Happy birthday. All right, any other announcements from any of the commissioners? If there's no announcements, I see we have Director Thomas online, but I also have our Principal Planner, Jay Lee. I'll defer to you, Mr. Lee.
Good evening, commissioners. We just have one announcement. As you know, we are working on the Gateway Main Street specific plan. And so we're updating that plan right now, and we're in the community outreach phase of the project. So a big next step is to have our second community workshop on February 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. So just would like to announce that and encourage participation, and more details are to follow. That's all for the announcements.
Okay, thank you, Principal Planner Lee. All right, next item is public forum. Those interested are invited to address Planning Commission on any subject not on tonight's agenda orally via Zoom webinar. The instructions are in the agenda. Speakers may provide their name and city of residence for the recording secretary's record, and comments may be limited to 3 minutes or less. As an item not listed on the agenda, no response is required from city staff or the Planning Commission, and no action can be taken. Planning Commission may instruct the staff to place the item on a future meeting agenda. Ms. Medina, do we have anyone online that wishes to make a public comment?
Chair, we do not.
All right, thank you. Next item, public hearing, item 8.1, new single family hillside residence, 531 Vista Ridge Drive. Principal Planner Lee.
I'll just give a quick introduction to the project before passing it off to Associate Planner Christina Fung. So we are here for a recommendation from the Planning Commission to the City Council for a site development permit to allow for the development of a new single family home, 2 stories in height, with an attached accessory dwelling unit and associated improvements on the site. So we are here for that site development permit for the recommendation, and the project is exempt from environmental review per the California Environmental Quality Act. And now I will pass it off to Associate Planner Christina Fung for the presentation.
Thank you, Principal Planner Lee, and good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and members of the public. My name is Christina Fung, and I'm an Associate Planner with the City of Milpitas. The item before you is a request for a site development permit to construct a new single-family residence in the Hillside Combining District at 531 Vista Ridge Drive. Next slide, please. The applicant is requesting a site development permit to construct a 3,347 square foot, 2-story single-family residence with a 1,012 square foot attached garage on a 4.29 acre vacant hillside lot. The proposal also includes a 1,200 square foot attached ADU, an in-ground pool and spa, deer fencing up to 8 feet in height, landscaping, and updated site improvements. The project site is located in the single-family hillside zoning district. As a result, this application will require recommendation from the Planning Commission and approval from City Council. Next slide, please. This is an aerial image of the project site and is located by the southeastern edge of the city. The site is located at 531 Vista Ridge Drive and is located east of the street and is accessed off of Calaveras Road. The property is part of the Spring Valley Heights subdivision development, which is a gated community with the homeowners association. The subdivision includes 26 lots, including one that is an open space parcel, which serves the project site immediately east and north. To date, approximately 3 other lots remain undeveloped in this subdivision. Next slide, please. And this is a zoning map of the property. The project site and all surrounding properties are zoned R1H, which is a single-family residential hillside. The general plan designation for the site and the surrounding properties are all also hillside low density. The home is located east of the crest line, where 2-story homes are permitted up to a maximum height of 27 feet. Next slide, please. And here we see a site plan of the proposed project, which is sited on an angle in relation to the front property line along Vista Ridge Drive. This is a zoomed in version, but if you want to see the full size, it is on plan sheet A 1.0. The front of the residence will face the west towards the left of the lot. The lot adjacent to the right is a large preserved hillside open lot that will not be developed. The lot is approximately 4.29 acres, and the hillside zoning code allows lots that are greater than 3 acres to have a larger main residence size and a greater impervious surface area than parcels under 3 acres. In another upcoming slide, I will show a comparison table of these hillside zoning regulations. The proposed main residence on the site plan is a shaded area in an L shape and will be up to 2 stories with a maximum height of 25 feet and 6 inches, and will total approximately 3,347 square feet of habitable space, which is compliant with the hillside's development standard of a 10,000 square foot maximum size of the main house and is within the 27-foot height limit. The house will contain 4 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms and includes an attached 1,012 square foot 4-car garage. There will also be an attached 1,200 square foot ADU, which is that light gray shaded rectangular wing on the south end, and an in-ground pool and spa to the northeast. The required parking for this proposed residence is 4 spaces, and the project includes 6. A new hammerhead concrete driveway, approximately 275 feet long, will be built matching the existing slope leading to the 4-car garage or to the 2 additional unenclosed parking stalls west of the house. The proposed fencing includes up to 8-foot tall deer fencing around the residence with the motorized entry gate proposed at the front of the entryway. A visual graphic of this fencing and gate, as well as the proposed landscaping details, will be provided in a later slide. The proposed total impervious surface area will be 14,443 square feet, which is compliant with the hillside's maximum impervious surface coverage of 30,000 square feet. In summary, the proposal is consistent with all development standards of the hillside zoning ordinance. And as proposed, the main dwelling unit will be situated where the existing parcel is relatively flat so that grading can be minimized. Some site photos will be shown later. The proposed project will result in an estimated 453 cubic yards of cut and 213 cubic yards of fill for construction of the home and to meet the required grade at the driveway for fire truck access. Approximately 209 cubic yards of grading is a result of the excavation for the pool area at a depth of 4 feet. The remaining 244 cubic yards of cut is for the driveway and landscaping. There will be no grading or development elsewhere on the site. Next slide, please. And this is a site plan of the proposed first floor, which for the main residence on the right side will total approximately 2,511 square feet. To the left is the 1-story ADU, totaling approximately 1,200 square feet, and will have 2 bedrooms and 1.5 bathrooms. The floor for the main residence includes 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, a living room, playroom, kitchen and pantry area, and a prayer room. Next slide, please. And this is the floor plan of the second story that will total approximately 836 square feet. This is just a partial second story above the main residence and includes an open office area and the master bedroom suite. The master bedroom will also connect to a roof deck on the south with the low profile green roof. The roof deck will face southeast, looking onto undeveloped hillside views and will not have a direct line of sight to neighboring residences. Slide, please. And these images show the side and rear elevations and the height of the new house at different angles. The next slide will include a front and side elevation rendering with colors and materials. The proposed residence will be at a maximum height to the top of the roof as measured from the lowest finished grade at 25 feet and 6 inches, which is below the 27 feet height max limit for this hillside house. Next, please. And here we see a good proposed conceptual rendering with colors and materials of the proposed new residence as seen from the angled front and side elevations. The project design is influenced by the California modern bungalow style by utilizing long overhangs for shading and emphasizing natural materials throughout. As you can see, there's large windows concentrated towards the hillside to frame views and provide opportunities for abundant natural light. The open plan layout forms an L shape to encompass the pool, an integrated hot tub, and the outdoor areas for a seamless indoor-outdoor connection. The home also incorporates strong lines, a mixture of high-quality wood and metal materials, and earth tone colors. And as you can see to the left of the slide, some of the materials include exterior siding in a natural cedar wood color, stacked gray limestone cladding, dark bronze color stained seam metal material, and a garage door also. The accents of the doors and windows will also have a dark bronze color to match the roof and garage door. The roof deck will have a metal guardrail with glass panels. And overall, the colors and materials of the proposed residence are complementary to the character of the rural neighboring residences. Next slide, please. And here are some of the proposed landscaping and fencing details. In the top image is a detailed front entry gate approximately 6 feet in height and will include deer fencing up to 8 feet in height surrounding the residence. I conducted a site visit on December 13th with the property owner and confirmed the site is a vacant dirt lot. There are no trees or shrubs where the proposed new house will be sited, and therefore no trees will be removed from the site. All of the existing trees and shrubs are on the heavily sloped portions of the lot where no development will occur, so they will remain as is. The proposed landscaping in relation to the size of the 4.29 acre lot is minimal and will be around the immediate areas of the house and driveway and includes some of the following: 13 new trees and 41 plantings of various shrubs. All proposed landscaping materials are drought tolerant, fire resistant, and low water use, and was prepared by a professional landscape designer, Todd Kalbfeld Landscape Design from San Jose. The proposed species are specified in the landscaping sheets of the project plans. In addition, the city's fire prevention staff will be taking a closer look at the proposed species and spacing of the landscaping in closer detail during the building permit review phase for fire safety. Overall, the proposed landscaping meets the intent of the Hillside Ordinance. Next slide. On this slide, I wanted to summarize the main hillside development standards the proposal needs to meet. This is also Table 3 in the attached staff report. As you can see, the proposed house will meet all front, side, and rear setbacks without an issue. The accessory structures are limited in size of 12,000 square feet per 1,200 square feet per individual structure, and all proposed structures comply with this, including the ADU and the 594 square foot attached unenclosed patio cover. As I mentioned earlier, I did want to highlight that the Hillside Code does allow lots greater than 3 acres in size to have a larger size for the main residence and a greater impervious surface areas than lots under the size. Most lots in the hillside area are under 3 acres and developed with the smaller maximum allowances. And although the proposal for the main house could have nearly doubled in size, as well as the impervious surface area that could have increased nearly double in size also, the proposed property owner has still chosen to stay well within its limitations for both of these standards. And as a result of this, the proposal for the project will be more in line with the existing hillside houses that have lots less than 3 acres in size. And at the next slide, I will show some designs of the adjacent residence and other photos to give a visual perspective of the lot and the immediate surrounding area. Next slide, please. And on this slide, I wanted to highlight the immediate adjacent residence, which is the lot to the south, 529 Vista Ridge, and is under construction. I am not including the adjacent lot to the north and east, as that lot must be preserved as open space with extensive site terrain. And the lots to the west and across Vista Ridge Drive mostly front a different street, Vista Spring Court, and are on a higher elevation, but I'll also show some photos in an upcoming slide to show perspective. The residence at 529 Vista Ridge was approved in 2019 as a 1-story residence on a 2-acre lot, totaling approximately 5,500 square feet, 5 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms, and an attached 3-car garage. The top image shows a rendering, only as there's no construction yet has occurred and no frame put up, so I was unable to take any site photos. A new property owner recently purchased that lot and entitlement in 2021, and I only saw some equipment on the site. Additionally, as shown on the bottom of the slide, the architect provided a line of sight drawing on the project plan sheet G0.1 that shows that the approval of the house at 529 Vista Ridge will not conflict with the new residence at 531 Vista Ridge, as it will be located completely on a lower elevation. The proposal for the main residence at 531 Vista Ridge also seems compatible with the architecture and design of this residence at 529 Vista Ridge in a modern style with the use of natural wood and metal materials with dark brown accents. Next slide, please. And with these pictures, I wanted to highlight how there are not other immediate threats to privacy from adjacent lots or any view obstructions. To the left is a view of the lot looking north, which shows largely unobstructed hillside views with other developed properties in the far distance that do not show an immediate threat to where the house will be located for 531 Vista Ridge. The middle shows the view looking east, which features expansive undeveloped hillside views, and this continuous lot abutting the property to the north and east must be preserved as open space only and will not be developed. Similar views continue along this portion of the lot. To the west, and as noted in the staff report, the existing residences to the west across the street mostly front a different street. This is Spring Court and are entirely on a higher elevation. You can see in this image, close to the front of the driveway for 531 Vista Ridge, you would only be able to see the rear fencing of the residence at 524 Vista Ridge, and a large tree also obstructs view of the rear of that residence. And just to reiterate again, also that the new resident be set back at least 275 feet from the new driveway. It would add additional privacy for the new house and all the other existing homes. Next slide, please. And on this slide, I also wanted to highlight how, due to the existing conditions of the private roadway and the way that this lot is oriented with the new proposal, I think that the new house would be difficult to see immediately while driving along Vista Ridge Drive. I did 2 different site visits, as mentioned, December 13th to meet the property owner, and another time on January 9th to post a public hearing sign. Though some of the weather may look different depending which day. I wanted to emphasize that the proposed driveway is long, 275 feet long, so that the front of this residence will start tucked in quite deep into the lot. And based on some of these images and depending which direction of the street you're driving on, you can get an understanding of what this area looks like and where the new house might be developed. Vista Ridge Drive is a private roadway maintained by the HOA and not by the city. And as you can see, there's only one room for one car to drive in either direction, and there is no room for street parking. The area is already very rural in nature as it's a private gated community. With the left side images, I wanted to show that as you're approaching this lot, driving south on Vista Ridge Drive, you are going uphill, and as the new driveway will be quite long to reach the house and will be towards the left, any potential views of the house would be heavily obstructed by the existing trees and shrubs you can see in the image, and therefore the new house would be naturally shielded from immediate views. Those existing trees and shrubs are located on sloping portions of the lot where it will remain untouched and no ordinance-sized trees are being removed. The right side image shows the Ridge Drive heading north towards Calaveras Road and showing where the roadway begins to curve and go downhill. Where you can see the red truck parked is the lot at 29 Vista Ridge. You could also see the nearest existing fire hydrant in yellow, which will be the closest one for the subject lot. Where you can see the white city car is the entrance to the lot at 531 Vista Ridge, and it's on a lower elevation that will be blocked by the topography and existing terrain, other hillside residences, including 529 Vista Ridge. And if you're driving in this direction and considering the length of the driveway, any immediate views of the new house should be negligible. Next slide, please. And on this slide, I wanted to show pictures from different angles of the site to really highlight how the new residence and driveway will get constructed on the existing flattest portions of the lot. The left images show where the new driveway will be constructed, going deep into the lot. Land is already relatively flat. You can also see the existing dense trees and shrubbery on the sloping portions of the lot shown in the previous slides that will remain undeveloped and will help provide natural screening. In the right is showing how flat the lot is, where the main residence, attached garage, and ADU will be built, as well as the associated accessory structures and site improvements. The remainder of the lot is either upsloping to the south or downsloping to the north and east and will remain untouched. Next slide, please. As the requirements for the hillside zoning ordinance, the applicant must demonstrate compliance with this section to preserve the natural quality of the crestline and the slopes as viewed from the valley floor. The applicant has demonstrated compliance with this by providing diagrams in the project plans. This slide includes sectional views to demonstrate the house will not be visible from the valley floor. The nearest points for this residence are viewpoints 7, 8, and 9. And this graphic is highlighting that the proposed house will be on the other side of these hills and therefore will not be visible from the lower elevation. And if you were to stand from 3 viewpoints looking up towards the hillside, an existing hill as shown, shaded in gray, will block views of the proposed house valley floor. Next slide, please. This project has been reviewed by multiple departments and has been conditioned accordingly as included in the resolution. Unlike most projects you may have reviewed, hillside projects must use a septic system for sewage. The proposed septic system design for the house was approved by the Santa Clara County Department of Environmental Health in November 16th, 2022. The site is also governed by the Spring Valley Heights HOA CCNRs. They have a private water service agreement with the city. The HOA confirmed in a letter dated November 14th, 2022, that there is enough water capacity to serve the new house. The project also received approval from the Spring Valley Heights Architectural Review Committee on the 8th of August last year. Slide, please. And a notice was published in the Milpitas Post and at City Hall, as well as the city's website. 12 postcards were sent to property owners within 300 feet of the project. A sign was also posted at the project site more than 10 days prior to the hearing. No comments have been received to date. Next slide, please. The proposed project is categorically exempt from environmental review under the California Environmental Quality Act in accordance with SECA guidelines, section 15303A, new construction or conversion of small structures, and section 15183, projects consistent with a community plan, general plan, or zoning. Next slide, please. Staff has confirmed that the project meets the findings associated with the site development permits as set out by the Milpitas Municipal Code. Those findings have been discussed in the staff report and are addressed in the resolution. Next slide, please. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission open and close the public hearing and adopt resolution number 23-002, recommending approval of site development permit number SD 22-0001 to the City Council, subject to the findings and attached conditions of approval at 531 Vista Ridge Drive. This concludes staff's summary of the project. I'm happy to answer any questions. And furthermore, the project applicant team, including the architects and property owner, are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fong. Does the property owner or the architect have any presentations themselves that they'd like to present?
No, as the property owner, I do not.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any commissioners have any questions for staff or the property owner or architect? No questions. Right. Right. I think I just had one question, just, so it's pretty clear based on the presentation, there's no obstruction to the, site. And then just wanted confirmation in terms of, so I know in previous projects that, whenever something's on a hillside, they generally put, I forget what you call those, we kind of put like a wired structure or something like that. That's not required for this one here, is that correct?
Oh, sorry, Commissioner, so what did you mean by the structures? You mean the story poles?
Yes, thank you. Story poles. So that's not required for this particular.
Oh, no, this is not required since this is east of the crest line. Projects that are west of the crest line are more visible and they have to be 1 story only. So those usually require story poles.
Okay, all right. No, thanks for that clarification. All right. Okay, so no questions from any commissioners. How about, I see that we also have our deputy fire chief on. I was wondering if anyone has any questions. Oh, I see Commissioner Galan has a question.
Yes, Ms. Fong, can you go back to the project rendering design on the screen? Can you go to me? The project.
I'm sorry, Miss
rendering.
Medina, are you able to go back to, let's see, you mean the project rendering page?
Yes,
I think that was slide
Yeah.
9.
yeah, that's the right one. There is a steps. What's the main purpose of that? That's first time I see.
Oh, that's just kind of showing the topography, but it's not going to be like graded like that, showing kind of how the hillside is sloped over there.
About the street parking, you mentioned that there's no street parking. What if the owner has some function?
So there's it's a Vista Ridge Drive is a private roadway maintained by the HOA, so there's just no room for on-street parking. The proposed project does include 4 covered garage parking stalls, and there's going to be 2 other on-site parking stalls. So a total of 6 parking stalls.
So there's no visual parking on the street at all?
I mean, that's not a requirement because it's a private roadway maintained by the HOA, so it's already quite constrained.
So how many cars can we fit inside their property?
Pardon? So this is based on this house for the project, going to be 4 garage stalls, and there's going to be 2 other uncovered stalls on the lot. And this is a private gated community, so.
Okay. How about the fire hydrant? How far, how many feet away from this residential? You mentioned about there's a fire hydrant. It's not that close to the residential.
Yeah, so that was shown on a picture on one of the slides. It's catty corner from the lot, kind of in front of 529 Vista Ridge Drive. But one of the conditions of approval for the project from the fire department is that they will analyze all the distancing requirements and they may require another fire hydrant at that time.
So
A
they don't
building
need to-
permit review.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Guam. Commissioner Albano.
Chair, yes, I would like to ask Ms. Fong and also maybe Liz, can you go to that slide? I think it's number 9 or 11. Oh, no. Number 10, maybe. 11. The one that you had a schedule of like, it was a schedule of requirements of like, that one.
The development
Yes,
standards.
development standards, yes. I just wanted a clarification. Here it says on the building height maximum, the hillside requirement is 17, which is the west of the crest line, and 27. And now we have 25. the proposed, is that beyond the 17 feet, the west crest line?
Oh, so this project is east of the crest line, so it was able to go up to 27 feet. So
I
this
see.
project was, yeah,
I see.
and it's
then
only a
from the-
partial second story.
I see. And then speaking about like an ADU, it says here the ADU is 1,200 square feet. My question is, do you have specifics like how much percentage of windows could be placed within that ADU? Being up in
So
the
because
hillside?
the ADU conforms to the state law and also our local development code, we are not allowed to comment much on the ADU and the design because it is just meeting the state's intent of encouraging additional housing units. So that portion is actually ministerial, but it's just described here because it is because of the project.
I see. How about the main house? Do you like impute a certain percentage of how many windows? And because I saw the design, it has a lot of glass windows, large, huge ones. Is it that like ergonomically, like for the heating system, or keeping the heat in, or is it morely designed so that you could see the view in the sky?
The project applicant team can chime in more if you want, Casey or Bridget. But from my understanding, the windows, right, are encouraging natural lighting, and there's not going to be any surrounding neighbors immediately, except to the one to the south, but that was on a higher elevation. And this is, using modern construction. So,
hi, this is Bridget. Thank you, Christina. I'm the architect who's just going to chime in on that. In addition to what Christina said, we oriented the windows mostly on the two sides, north and east, where we're facing open views and only very distant other built homes, so that everyone's privacy would be maintained. But we will also be going through Title 24 compliance, which is the energy code compliance that we'll have to meet during the building permit review process. So during that time, we will ensure that both the windows themselves and their R value, or ability to insulate from heat and cold loss, will meet the code requirements for energy. So I believe that it is designed such that it will meet, but it will be verified by a measurable standard at that time.
And as you construct this home, did we consider the green effect of all of this from construction side?
Yeah, green in terms of sustainability is what you mean there?
And also in the construction of.
Yeah, so we will definitely. There's no existing structure there, so we don't have to worry too much about demolition waste. But we will make sure that materials that we use are as sustainable as possible. We're also looking to use high quality materials so they have good longevity. We're going to try to make sure we don't have to off-haul too much grading. That's kind of why we're building on the flat portion of the lot. So there's not a lot of soil off-haul to have. And there will be some solar panels required as part of the energy code as well. Those will probably be placed on the garage roof, which has a little parapet. So they'll mostly be shielded and not visible from the street or any other property, as Christina kind of showed with her photos. The existing trees do a great job of screening the building site. Yes, so to answer your questions, and I think also from a landscaping perspective, I know we're using drought tolerant plants. The landscape architect has been very specific about what he's chosen so that we are limiting water use for watering landscape as well.
Thank you so much. And because of the rains, the recent rains, has always been a concern now that we were not used to this, but I'm sure the foundation will be taken into consideration, especially like, how it's going to be constructed. But it's only 2-story, so I'm sure the design for the foundational is very good.
Yes, yes, absolutely. We have a structural engineer on board and a civil engineer. And between all three of us, we'll make sure that there's, structural integrity of the hillside as well as proper drainage. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Yes, these
O'Connor.
are.
Oh, sorry, was there a comment?
Oh, sorry. Oh, no. I'd say those are all great comments, and those will be reviewed thoroughly by each responsible department during the building permit review phase. And, the building permits will not be issued for construction until all comments have been satisfied by all departments.
Thank you. And I also just wanted to, any other questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, Chair.
All right, Commissioner Galong.
Can you go back same screen from last time? Just regarding about the building heights.
What's your question?
Can you go back on there? There you go. Building height. Yeah. I need some explanation here. Building height. There's the standard, and then under hillside requirements, 17 feet west of crest line, and then there's 27 feet east of crest line. You're talking about if you're looking or viewing from London or something you mentioned, and how do we know if the applicant meet? It's just
So yes, I know that's a very confusing and weird section, and I'm not sure how, the history of how this press line was developed, but it's in our GIS system that's available also to the public, not just our staff, and it's just a layer that you turn on. And once you enter the address, you could see where the lot might be. It's either west or east of the crest line, and that's how we determine. So typically lots on this subdivision are usually on the east, but ones that you have seen north, I think we had some projects over there. Those are usually west of the crest line.
How did the applicant come up with 25 feet and 6 inches from what?
Would the architect team like to comment on that? I mean, it's within the maximum height limit, so I don't see a large issue there. But
I'm sorry, the question was just how did we get to 25 feet, 6 inches?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we have a 2-story structure. So that usually takes kind of 10 foot per story, which would get us to 20 feet. And then we have a gently sloping shed roof. So we need to tilt up from there to get a slope that kind of looks graceful. And so that brought us up to 25 feet, 6 inches, and that was still, below the allowable height. And we also made a real concerted effort to keep that second story area small. So most of the building is actually single story and will only be about 11 feet to the top of the bulk of the building.
So how many feet from the west of crest line, and then how many feet east of crest line?
Oh, the entire building is located east of the crest line. If that makes sense, like the entire project site is essentially, it's over the hill. So when you're standing down in Milpitas and you look up towards the ridge, you won't be able to see the house or the lot at all. It's like well over the backside of the hill there, if you will. And maybe Christina, you want to chime in and explain that if it was confusing.
Oh, no problem. Yes, we could show you how to access this sometime. I'm not sure if you wanted me to show you right now, but
Okay.
like I mentioned, I'm not sure how this crest line was developed back in the day when the hillside ordinance was developed, but it is a layer in the GIS system. And so once you put in the address for a certain house, you could see in relation how this curved line and the lot, if it's going to be east or west. So one lot can't have the east and west. It's just one or the other. So for this lot, it's east of the crest line.
So when there's fog in that area, can you still see the building? Like if it's foggy.
Yeah.
Pardon me. So we showed
I
some
may.
pictures. Sorry, some of the ending slides of the viewpoints showed an angle. If you were to stand from the valley floor and look onto those viewpoints, the house is going to be behind all those hills. So that's why I think slide 16. Maybe I want to zoom in a little bit. or maybe to the right a bit, but all the viewpoints are pretty much showing that if you were standing from the valley floor looking up onto the hill, that there's a large hill that already obstructs the potential views of this house. So
If I may, Ms. Ong, Commissioner Galong, so what Associate Planner Fong was commenting earlier was that it's if it's east of the crest line, so on table 3, it's an either or. So if it's east of the crest line, they have up to 27 feet. And so what she commented there is that 25 feet, 6 inches is east of the crest line. So I understand your concern there. You were wondering where the 17 feet of west of the crest line. If it were west of the crest line, then yes, then we would definitely be concerned about that. So this is an either or case. And correct me if I'm wrong, Associate Planner.
oh yes, you're correct. I know that putting that in there might have been confusing, but I was just trying to emphasize that this house is east, so that's why it gets up to 27 feet. As we mentioned, this is just a full second story. And a lot of those pictures I was showing at the end was trying to demonstrate that where the lot is in relation to the other properties around it, there's a lot of trees and shrubs that will be blocking view of that house, and the driveway is very long. So I think a lot of any potential views of the house would be difficult in general, unless you were entering this private house. I see Director Ned Thomas has his hand up.
Yes, go ahead, Director Thomas.
Thank you. This is Ned Thomas. I'm traveling today, so I'm joining remotely, but very interesting conversation. I just wanted to provide a little bit of context for the crestline zone, or the crestline itself. So it was the crestline was identified and established and mapped at the time that the hillside ordinance was adopted a couple of decades ago. And as Associate Planner Fung mentioned, it is one of the layers in our mapping, our online mapping system, our GIS system. So we know exactly where that crestline is, and it really only comes into play. Well, the crestline was established in the ordinance, and it pertains to views from the valley floor. So among many things, one of the purposes of the hillside ordinance is to protect views of the hillside from the valley floor. And when you look at that section of the zoning ordinance, you'll see that the hillside ordinance actually identifies 9 viewpoints on that east side of the city, and they're all along the hillside on the valley floor. And so the idea of having a crest line is when you look at the hillside, and the zoning ordinance actually says with it, for any project from the 3 closest viewpoints. So of those 9, you choose the 3 nearest viewpoints, and then we map that out and look toward the hill to see if the proposed project can be viewed in relation to the crest line. And so if it's on the west side, then it's more visible from the valley floor, and that is why the height of buildings is less on the west side. However, if you're on the east side, as this project is, normally, and this project is actually a textbook example, because it's on the east side of the crest line and it's below the crest line, you actually cannot see the house from the rest of the valley floor, the portion of Milpitas. So therefore, it's completely consistent with the point in bringing this up in the staff report is to note, as Associate Planner Fung did, that it's completely compatible and consistent with the requirements of the hillside ordinance relative to the crest line. I hope that helps to give a little bit of context.
So he used that 25 feet on the east side, right?
That's correct from what I'm hearing. So as long as it's 25 feet east, I mean, 27. The maximum height is 27 feet east of the crest line. So this project, accordingly, here is 25 feet 6 inches. So basically, there's another 1 foot 6 inches left. That's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Planning
That's
director.
correct.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chair and Ms. Medina. So yeah, this is the GIS layer and map I wanted to show you guys. So if you were to type in 531, that's pretty much the bottom right of the light green area. So that thick shaded black line, that is the crest line. So as you can see, any properties that are east from that have the 27 feet height limits, and anything west from that has a 17-foot height limit, which is just a very small portion of the very top light green area, as you can see. So this is a completely different subdivision that's on the southeastern edge of the city, where they all have the 27 feet height limit because they're east of the crest line.
I have a question, Chair. So
I guess before Commissioner Galon, did that answer your question?
Yeah, well, one more question again.
Okay.
Thank you for that topic.
All right.
How about the driveway? Who's responsible to remove all those dirt and old trees in the driveway? Right. So the existing driveway was very.
The driveway it's a vacant, a dirt lot. So the driveway will have to be built by the contractors for the project.
And maintenance also. Who's responsible for the maintenance of the driveway?
That's the private property owners or the
Okay.
HOA.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Albano, go ahead.
yeah, going back to that map. So you use that to establish that it's in the east. I mean west, right? That's west crest line.
The lot is in the east. So if you put in
Is
the
it-
address as Ms. Medina has done, that's the circle kind of
Yeah.
right there. So as you can see, that large thick line that's curving around, that's the crest line. So this whole subdivision is east of the crest line.
I see. So that's how it's established. Correct. Thank you.
That's how we determine.
All right. Any other questions from the commissioners? All right. All right. If there's no other questions, then I was also going to ask if the deputy fire chief had any comments or any questions for deputy fire chief. Okay. And I also wanted to note, if there's no questions for him, I also wanted to note that associate civil engineer Brian Petrovic is also on, if you guys had any questions for him. Okay. All right. If there's no other questions, this being a public hearing item, wanted to like to open up the public forum. Ms. Medina, I don't see anyone here in the chambers here. Is there anyone online that has any wishes to make any public comment?
Chair, there are no community members in the Zoom queue for our project.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. Can I get a motion to close the public forum?
Move to close the public hearing.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Mosen. Do I have a second?
I second.
And got a second from Commissioner Wasti. Roll call vote. Commissioner Mosen.
Aye.
Commissioner Wasti.
Aye.
Commissioner, Galong.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella.
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Motion passes. Public forum's closed. All right. Any final questions from any of the commissioners to anyone from staff or fire department or civil engineer or anyone, principal planner Jay Lee or even planning director? Any deliberations? Any comments about the project? I just have one comment, just want to say it seems pretty straightforward. Overall, just as part of the hillside residents, it seems very much, and thank you, Ms. Fong, for the clarification around the, I do understand that there's, always concerns, anything on, built on the hillside. So this project, as noted by Director Thomas, that, this is a textbook example that it's, in full compliance there. So that's my deliberation here. Does any of the commissioners have any other final comments or wish to make any motions? Commissioner Wasti.
Yes. Yeah, as Director Thomas said, this is a textbook example and everything is by the book. But my suggestion is that if we were to go west of the crest line or east of the crest line, if it was not needed, then we should not add the other crest line, the west, if east was needed here in future, if it is not needed, to avoid any confusion. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Wasti. Any other comments, motions from any of the commissioners?
Here,
All right, Commissioner Galong.
I have a question with the fire department.
Okay, go ahead. Ask a question to the fire department.
Sir, for example, if there's fire in that residence, where's your access? Yeah, how many road access to go there, and you go the front or the back? Do you have an access the back, or do you have another access in other road, or how many roads? In order
Well,
for you
as with so Commissioner, as with any project, we always review plans both for, we have a number of metrics we look at, but our two primary metrics are always what are the water supply sources for that site and what is our site access for that site. So that driveway will have to accommodate our ability to get our emergency vehicles in there. And specifically, hammerhead turnarounds are also incorporated into that. So it allows our vehicles to turn around should they get up into that space. And so they don't have to back all the way down the driveway. Does that answer your question?
So how many fire hydrant in the area?
I'm sorry, what was the question? I didn't hear.
Fire hydrant.
Yes.
How far is that from the residence?
I don't know from the plan perspective right now, but when the plans are submitted, we will review, and they have to be within a spectrum of what's acceptable for our fire operations. So as Associate Planner Fung mentioned, depending on how it lays out on the plan review for our fire protection engineers, they may have to install an additional hydrant depending on how that plays out.
Yeah, just to add on, that is condition of approval number 27, and the house is going to be required to be sprinklered. So.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Long. Okay, any other comments, deliberations, or questions or motions? Can we put the
Motion.
yeah. Okay, got a motion motion from, was it Commissioner Mosen? Okay. Can you put that on the screen? Yeah.
So the motion is
She's going to put it on the screen in just a moment. There you go.
okay, I don't have that. Adopt resolution number 23.
23-002.
Yeah, mine is 33-002, recommending approval of site development permit number ST 22-001 to the City Council, subject to findings and attached conditions of approval.
I got a motion from Commissioner Mosen. Do I have a second?
Second.
I got a second from Commissioner Awasti. Roll call vote. Commissioner Mosen.
Aye.
Commissioner Awasti.
Aye.
Commissioner Galong.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Chair, I thought the resolution is 23-002 to make some corrections.
Okay, I thought I heard 2-3. So if don't mind, can you restate the motion before we go? If we go down the roll call vote, restate the motion, just read it exactly as it is. I thought I heard 23, but it sounds like you heard something else. 23, just if you don't mind restating it.
Okay.
Just restate the whole motion again,
Okay.
just for clarification.
I move that adopt resolution number 23-002, recommending approval of site development permit number ST 22-0001 to the City Council, subject to finding and attached conditions of approval.
Okay, so I got a motion from Commissioner Mosen, and then Commissioner Awasti, you still second that?
Yes.
Okay, and second from Commissioner Awasti. Roll call vote. Commissioner Mosen.
Aye.
Commissioner Awasti.
Aye.
Commissioner Galong.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Vice Chair Stierdella.
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. The motion passes. It's been, the recommendation to adopt resolution has been approved there. Thank you. Good project there. So next item, New business, no items. Legalese, any person aggrieved by any final decision of any board, commission, or department head to the city of Milpitas may appeal the decision to the city council by filing written notice of appeal with the city clerk within 12 calendar days of the date of said decision and paying the required fee. This time limit shall be strictly enforced. Final item, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yeah.
Motion from Commissioner Mosen. Second from Commissioner Long. Commissioner Mosen. Roll
Aye.
call. Commissioner Wasti.
Aye.
Commissioner Glong.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella.
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Meeting's adjourned.